Here now, exclusively tonight, Rudy Giuliani. Mayor, good to see you tonight. Thank you for being here. I'm doing well. Thank you so much for coming in. You know, it's interesting when you look at the argument, because the word patriotism was used over and over and over again ever since Mueller finished talking.
Yeah.
It's become a major theme in the Democrats' language.
Yeah, it's not going to work any better than Mueller worked for them. I mean, everyone knows what happened to them the other day. Mueller got knocked out. Largely because there's no case. I mean, there's a lot of attacks on Bob, and he wasn't smart, and he didn't pay attention. Maybe true, but there's a real problem. You can only go so far in creating a phony case. And Bob ultimately does have integrity. He was asleep at the switch. The inmates took over the asylum, like Weissman, and did all kinds of horrible things, trampling on people's rights, which is uncharacteristic of Bob Mueller, by the way, which always made me wonder, is he in charge of this thing? And the reality is that the Democrats are now making total clowns out of themselves. It's not about patriotism. It's about, do you have any sense of decency? I mean, this is over. They couldn't find collusion. They couldn't find obstruction in any sensible way. I mean, he didn't obstruct anything. There was no underlying crime. There isn't a seasoned prosecutor in the country that would bring a case like that except laugh at it. So now they're trying to do, well, he must have done something wrong, or it wasn't presented correctly, or if Andrew Weissman couldn't get 3 people to lie about Donald Trump, one of them that he put in solitary confinement, and I would say came pretty close to torturing, Manafort. Put the guy in solitary confinement, bring him back 9 times, tell him what to say. Yeah. If he says it, he gets out of solitary confinement. Wow. That's what we call suborning perjury. If he couldn't do it, believe me, these 2 guys who are trying to Nadler and Schiff, who are not operating really with the same mental power as Weissman. Weissman's much brighter than they are, and much more malicious in some ways. If he couldn't do it, they're not going to do it.
So one of the interesting things that happened in the hearing, in the questioning side, was that I think a lot of America started to hear things that they had never heard before. We've covered both sides of this story throughout the case of the entire thing, that, you know, the president's side feels that there was some kind of potentially a setup. Papadopoulos, we've had him on the show. He's talked about what he believes happened to him. But listen to Devin Nunes as he went through this line of questioning that, you know, I watched some of the other channels' coverage, and it was like they'd never heard of any of these people. Watch this.
Can you repeat the question?
Whether or not you interviewed Stephen Schrage, who organized the Cambridge.
In those areas, I am going to stay away from.
So Downer conveys a rumor he supposedly heard about a conversation between Papadopoulos and Joseph Mifsud. James Comey has publicly called Mifsud a Russian agent. Yet your report does not refer to Mifsud as a Russian agent.
I mean, literally, I heard people saying, who was he talking about? What is he talking about? So my question for you is, as the president's attorney, what is the next step in terms of shedding more light on what you believe is the other side of the story that should be pursued here?
Well, first of all, we're going to find out that Mifsud was operating for a so-called friendly intelligence service, not Russia. That he was given the information.
A Western, European, British intelligence.
And that he was given the information to feed to Papadopoulos, which, if you had any common sense or sense of honesty, you figured out. I mean, I knew that immediately. I've done lots of counterintelligence investigations. So has Mueller. It has all
George
the
Papadopoulos said he thought it was
the whole
weird.
scheme with Papadopoulos has all the earmarks of foreign counterintelligence. Dirty trick.
Right, you've got a young guy who just joins the team,
not
right?
A genius to
and suddenly
that.
People are calling him, reaching out to him and saying, you know, we'd like to meet with
they
you in London.
They pick a guy low
we'd
down
like
on
to
the
meet
campaign, and then they bring a beautiful woman in to try to seduce him. I mean, this is out of a cheap novel. And I can speculate but can't tell you who I think is doing it, but got to be somebody who's got a real big intelligence background and somebody who's willing to carry out
any names come to mind?
Well, a couple come to mind, but I don't want to accuse anybody without having the facts. Let's see what happens. Comey's right in the middle of it. I mean, Comey's got to be the center of this investigation. And he's probably not where it stops. It probably goes higher. But Comey signed an affidavit that is patently false about Steele. He said on the top of the affidavit, verified. 4 months later, he told the president it was unverified. You can't be unverified 4 months later if it's verified 4 months earlier. So this guy is headed for big trouble. Let's see if he talks, and let's see if McCabe talks. And I don't know, Peter Strzok, you think maybe he's a candidate for giving states evidence? He doesn't look like the strongest character to me.
We will be watching. Mayor Giuliani, always good to see you. Thank you so much for coming in tonight, sir. We'll see you soon.